I didn't go yet. I might go. I still might go. Depends on my wife. I have to go to Muncie tomorrow night, so I'm hoping that I can maybe pop in on the Sheva Brachos if I don't make it. That's my goal. But
look who figured out how to use his phone. Oh no, now we lost him.
Who, Rabbeinu?
We got his face. We got his face for 1 second.
Yeah. I guess we lost him. All right, we have a minion already, so we can go. Well, Yitzhi Sunday had a baby, so I guess that's why he's not on. Could be a good reason, no? Now he switched to his phone.
I mean, it could be a good reason.
Could be.
Where are we up to?
We are on the bottom of Yudam Beis. Amar Yud Amar B'chia. Right now we're in the travel halachos. Yeah.
Yep.
Hold on. So let me just shut off this. Yeah. So Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rabbi Chia Hamahalach B'derech. Anybody who's traveling, Al Yochel Yosem Mishnei Ravin. See, Peretz, you mamish mechaven to the Gemara tonight. If you're traveling, don't eat more than you would eat when there's a famine, when there's a hunger. So you were traveled last night. You didn't eat anything in Lakewood, right? That's what it says to do. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't do it for religious purposes.
I don't think this is religious purposes either. I think this is just it's like ben adam lechaveru. If there's a hunger, well, no, I'm sorry. The travel purpose, but the hunger we'll get to in a minute. Now this is for travel purposes. Now my time, right? Why taka? Hacha targimu here, meaning in Bavel targimu mishum ma'ina, because of the ma'ina for the. It's not good for your intestines. It's not good for your stomach to have to digest food. Right, the body doesn't work the same when you travel. And by Marava Amri Mishum Mezayni, and the Marava they said, they said because of food, meaning if you're gonna eat so much in the beginning of your travel, then you're going to end up maybe starving because you're not going to have enough food. So, and does this, so the child is this and the previous Gemara from yesterday's Daf of not talking and learning, does that apply if you're just a passenger, or only if you're a driver? Right? Meaning, what's so stressful about traveling if you're the passenger? Or am I off on that?
Maybe if you're a passenger, it should be the same thing, because the reason could be because there are no bathrooms and there are no things, like no conveniences on the road. Maybe
you think it's out that because of the bathroom?
I don't know.
I don't know. We always got yelled at. Don't eat too much, or we're going to have to stop. That doesn't come into play.
What's wrong with stopping to go to the bathroom? That's what it says.
They just want to make the time.
And you want to go. You don't want to stop.
Parents, you just want to make the time. Your parents were smart,
Right.
Is that what it means by it's bad for the intestines, or?
Yeah, that's the way Rashi.
Maybe it means about those days' travel. This day's travel is a simple.
Right, so that's exactly right. That's the thing. Does it change? Right. So yesterday we learned that you're not supposed to talk and learning. Yesterday we said you're not supposed to talk and learning. When you're traveling and Ian, right? So if you're sitting in the passenger on a plane, you can't talk. If you're on a plane, you can't talk Ian. Right?
You're two passengers on the plane because you're not in charge.
You're not driving the plane.
You're not driving, right? Flying, right.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So my binai, what's the difference between the two reasons? Again, the two reasons not to eat a lot is either because you may run out of food, or you're not going to digest it well. So what's the difference?
I'm sorry. Where are you? I'm sorry.
Now we're on the top line of Yud Aleph Amud Aleph.
Okay.
Yeah. So the difference between the two reasons is the Yosef Ba'arva, like we're saying, if you're sitting on a ship, right? So because of food, you might run out of food, but because of the Mayan, it's no problem because you're on a ship. So l'chayr, the same thing would apply for a car, being a passenger in a car, right? How about the driver of the car? According to this, it sounds like even if you're a driver of the car, as long as you're not walking, it seems like walking is the issue with the food, not the actual moving. That's one. Inami the galus may avna la'avna. Somewhere where he goes from one hotel to another hotel. So, right? He knows that every hotel is going to have food. So eat as much as you want because you're not going to run out of food anyways. You know that there's hotels that are going to have food.
Like every gas station has food?
Yeah. That's exactly. It's unbelievable, by the way. You just want to know why we don't feel like we're in galus. Every gas station on the Jersey side, any gas station from like the George Washington Bridge up to upstate New York, not only has kosher food, it's Cholov Yisrael food. Every single gas station that I've ever stopped in, obviously I didn't stop in all of them. They have ice cream Cholov Yisrael and chocolate, almost every one. Right?
Jacob, I was about to say they have Klein's and Mahadran ice cream.
Uh-huh. It's true. It's wild. It's mamish wild. So I'm saying then for sure you eat as much as you want because you're the next gas station. We'll have plenty of food for you. Fine. Rav Papa, kol parsa ochel chad rifta. Rav Papa, who was a large fellow, I don't know if it's right to call him a fellow. He was a large person. He ate a loaf of bread every parsa, right? Which a parsa is approximately 3 miles. Yeah, Kasavar Meshumayana, he held that the reason is because of the stomach issues. And so Rashi says he had a very large stomach. He could eat a lot of food and it's not going to affect him. Right? Okay. And anybody who starves himself when there's a hunger, he's going to be saved from a misa mishuna. Right? So Rashi, it's interesting. Rashi says, "What's a misa mishuna?" Right? That's a phrase that people use. Misa mishuna, right across into the Rashi. It says meis becherev be'uberov. It's you die with somebody dies with a medal or a hunger. And any type of misa that's not bidei malach hamavis, like somebody who dies on his bed, which sounds like that is a malach hamavis. Is Rashi saying that that if somebody dies from an accident, that's not the malach hamavis? Am I reading the Rashi correctly? And that's what it seems. I don't know. I found that Rashi pretty interesting.
I was confused about the malach hamavis part, so I put that aside, and I just said, "Mitzvah mishuna." Either you die in your bed or a natural illness, or mitzvah mishuna is, like something falls from the sky or something unusual.
No, mitzvah mishuna is not dying in your bed. Mitzvah mishuna is not dying in your bed.
I'm saying it's not. The normal the death you hope for is a person dying in his bed or a natural illness, old age, whatever. The mitzvah mishuna would be, a buffalo comes charging down Frisco and I don't know, whatever.
Right, but it's saying, but he says it sounds like she'ena b'dei malach hamavis. Sounds like it's a death that come by an accident, like the malach hamavis was not involved. Right?
Like yesterday in Milwaukee.
Right, exactly. Yeah, something like that.
That would be right. That would be.
It's interesting. Okay. Anyways, so how do you know that? Yeah.
This Rashi is Rab Aaron's bracha to Joe Bonanno.
Correct. You got it.
Right.
You got it. I didn't know you knew that. You have the Bakiyas out.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Wasn't also Satmar Rebbe to the Kennedys?
No,
they
say
Rab
Aaron. They say that's also Rab Aaron.
That was also Rab Aaron.
I thought it was one of the Rebbes. I thought it was one of the Rebbes.
Rab Aaron said it on the father, on Joe Kennedy. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Anyway, okay.
Turned Rab Aaron Cutler into a Baal Moifis already over here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to get you out of a tachna now.
Very good.
Shenemar. Anyways, how do you know this? Shenemar Barov Pod Chamimavis. In Rav, you're going to be redeemed from death. May Rav Mibaile. right? It shouldn't say birov, that with hunger you're going to be redeemed from others. It should say meirov mibaili. Elo hachikam. This is what the pasuk is saying. B'schar shemarav atzma b'shnei ramen. The schar that you starve yourself, meaning that you let others have food. Well, see, that's the question. What do you mean? B'schar, that you made yourself hungry. Nitzel mimisa mashuni, we save mimisa mashuna. Right? It's schar because you're saving the food for others, or is it just because you're showing yourself that you're mishtatif in the pain of Klal Yisrael?
Showing that you're mishtatif.
Right. So it sounds like you're not in the famine area of the country, but you just know about it.
Or there's a famine, but you have food. You have. So, but sharing is not. But you're not sharing your food. That you're not doing. You're not sharing, but you stop eating, so then you're being mishtatif in the tsar. That's what it sounds like, right? Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
Rabbi Yochko has a footnote about this for the Bnei Yaakov.
and what does it say?
Says that they had grain, but Yaakov told them, "Don't let everybody know you have grain."
That was yesterday's. That was in yesterday's daf, right? That was yeah. Okay, so anyway, so nitzum mitzvah mishuna. So you say for mitzvah mishuna, fine. Amar Shalkish also l'adam l'shamash mitasa b'shnei raven. It's also for a person to have marital relations when there's a plague, or not plague, hunger. Shenemar, right? And this also coming up. Yosef Yula Shnei Bana B'Terem Tavish Shnas Harav. He had 2 kids before it came the Shnas Harav. So, and therefore, why does it say they had it before the hunger? So, because during the hunger, he was not allowed to have relations, right? And again, this is also because you have to be mishtatif in the tsar of Klal Yisrael. Now, the question is, do you apply this to any time there's a tsar? I actually had a lot of people ask this question to me during Corona. I had quite a few people ask if they're supposed to not be together with their wives, like because it's the same as a plague, not a plague, a famine. Right, so when Klal Yisrael's in itself, so which type? Why does the Gemara dafka pick a famine? What about other tzaras? Okay, I'm not sure, but
well, because it's a good question because Noach they were asked on the teva, right?
Oh, so was that because of tsar, or that was because of kedusha of the teva? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was kedusha to the teva, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. You know what? This tonight coming up, it's taka coming up in this thing. I think there's a gemara that's mashma that takes away the total conception I had of a major story in Chumash. I think if I'm going to read it correct. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You read gemaras and you say, okay, I learned the Chumash wrong, right?
Now I just woke up.
Yeah, Kiva, what are you saying?
Is maybe the shot you're not supposed to have children just because you're bringing more people into the world that are gonna deprive people of food?
That's what I thought, but the Gemara doesn't say that, right? Meaning, how can you bring people into the world to a plague? You're gonna make it even worse. But that's not what the Gemara is saying. I'm saying you're gonna bring somebody in the world that's gonna need more food, but that's not the mahala.
Right. Well, Taisa says it's midas chasidus. Taisa says he brings a kasha from Yechavid. That how could that be possible? So it seems like it was Yosef who was on a different madriga, held that he had to do it to himself.
Right. Okay, but Lamaisa, the Gemara is coming out lahalacha that you shouldn't.
It doesn't sound like it's halacha at all, according to Taisus.
Yeah, but I'm saying Shulchan Aruch brings it.
According to Taisus, not.
Yeah, according to Taisus, it sounds like not.
The svara he's saying that has nothing to do with the din, because then you can have relations and make sure you don't have children from the relations. It's not the same thing.
You mean you're saying use birth control?
Use birth control if that's the problem, bringing more people into the world. So have relations and don't have children.
Right. Anyways, yeah, that would be anyways anti-ethical. I mean, according to our ethics, to not have it. That means you're playing Hashem. You're playing Hashem if you do it that way. Right? Oh, it's dangerous to bring a kid into this world, so therefore I'm not going to. I would think. Okay. Anyways, but
you're accomplishing the same thing.
True, and the bottom line is the same. 100% right. Yeah. So Tana chasuche banim, but people that don't have children, So Meshamshim Mitisayim B'Shnei Rav, and then they are allowed to be
But
together
that-
in the
okay.
Shnei Rav. Right? They're allowed to. Yeah.
During the Muhammad, the psak was they lived together if they could. They kept the mikvahs open for the ladies during the Muhammad.
Right, that's true, Taka. Right. Yeah. Anyways, okay, so somebody who doesn't have kids doesn't have to keep this halacha. Fine. Taraban, Bizmanchi saw shrum bitzar, whenever Klai saws shari bitzar, pirish echad mehen, and one of them makes himself separate. Boin shnei malachi yashar shemalav le'ladam, two malachi yasharis that come that are malava, right? Which we're going to see weiter more about that. And they put their hands on his head, and they say, he should not see the nechama of the tzibur, meaning he won't see when the Yeshua happens. Tani idach, bezman shatzibur shari b'tzar, al yomer adam elik lebesi va'oichel ve'eshte v'shalom alecha nafshi. Right? They don't go to your house and say, I'm going to eat and drink and there should be, shalom on you, my soul, meaning he's talking to third person, right? Meaning don't ignore everybody and just have a good time. And if you do this, all of because of Aimer, there's going to be happiness. Haroig, bakar, v'shachaytzayin, that they're going to kill bakar and they're going to be shech the sheep. Achal basar shtais yayin, and echol v'shasu, and then they're going to eat and drink. Ki machar namas, but tomorrow we're going to die. Right? It sounds like people that are saying, hey, we're going to die anyways, we might as well party. Yeah? So, Maksib Basray, so what does it say?
Song of the Daf. It's a song of the Daf.
Is this a song?
I make you a joke. Yes, technically it is a song, but it's a non-Jewish song.
Okay. Yeah. So, Maksib Basray, what does the pasuk say after that? V'nigla ba'oznei Hashem tzvagos, right? And it's going to be revealed to Hashem that if you're going to have a kapara for this aveiro until you die, right? Which l'chayra means that there's going to be death in this world, death in the next world. Fine. Ad kan midas beinanim, right? But that is for the midah of the average people. Of midas for shaim maksiv, but the midah for shaim, what does it say there? Esayu ekhayayin, come and get wine, and they're going to become drunk with sheikha really means beer, right? And it's going to be like this in the next day, right? Meaning you're going to even more food than that. So what does it say after that? After this party, the tzaddik is going to get lost. Ish. Some alev, and nobody puts into his heart. And the reason why the tzaddik was gathered, meaning that he died, is because of the bad things, right? So meaning that the reason that Hashem takes away a tzaddik before he's that Rashi says that it's going to take away the tzaddik, so that he doesn't have to experience all the tsar that Klal Yisrael is going to have to be through. And nobody chaps, meaning nobody's going to get nervous when a chacham's nifter, if that they should watch out. Yeah? Fine. Then it says, El Yitzar Adam Imat Tzibur. So what should happen? A person has to have tsar with the tzibur. She came with tzibur with Moshe Rabbeinu. Also, here's what I'm not sure if I understood Chumash ever correctly. So Moshe Rabbeinu should tzir atzmei Imat Tzibur. Moshe Rabbeinu showed his tsar with the tzibur shenemar, because it says when they were doing the, what do you call it, with the
Jacob, I'll put in a shameless plug, but happens to be true. It's, Baruch Ber just put this out early today. He says, they're doing, Achiez is doing their campaign today. He says there happens to be today's daf.
What, to be part of Klal Yisrael?
The community, helping or whatever. Right. That's just
Interesting.
I'm waiting for a Aaron's rebuttal there. Okay.
I'm holding myself back, Aaron, believe me.
Good. Okay. So anyway,
I was just making sure you're paying attention. That's all.
So you should have tsar with the tzibur, because it says v'yidei Moshe kvedim. Moshe's hands were heavy by the milchama with Amalek, right? And they took a stone and they put it under him, and he sat on it. Did he not have a pillow or padding, whatever, to sit on it? So I'm also going to be with them b'tzar. Right?
This was talking about Achiezer. This was before Misaskim, so you didn't get comfortable chairs.
Oh, very good. Right? Now, 1 second. I always understood that they put it under his arms so that his arms didn't fall down.
I thought
that's an additional measure.
I thought we had this, and David, you also had a ha'ara on this.
They held his arms, no?
They held what?
They held
That's
his
what it's,
arms.
yeah, the pasuk says they held his arms.
Aaron and
Right?
Yeshua held his arms.
Yeah.
No, not Yeshua.
I guess, yeah, no, it's a fairish pasuk. I always thought that they put the rocks under his arms. That's probably me lazy being like, why should we hold it? Let's put a rock there. Why should we hold that much? Right, but anyway, so Moshe sat on a rock as opposed to sitting on padding or whatever it is. Right? Fine. It is a
shtickle interesting, but the pasuk says his hands were heavy, so he sat down.
Right. That's what threw me out. That's why I think that's why I thought it. But when you look at it, really, that's what the.
I mean, it would have been a little strange had he brought up a lounge chair so he could be comfortable. It would have been a little strange.
Okay, I hear that. Yeah, that fair enough. But is he taking credit away from Moshe? Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm not trying to do anything because I have no idea what I'm doing. So,
I hear. Anyways, fine. Okay, so he ends up seeing the Nechama the Tzibur. B'Shem Yomer Adam mi may it be. Who's gonna say Eidos for me? Meaning, who's gonna if am I in the privacy of my own home? I stuff my face, so I'm not gonna. What do you call it? I'm not. Who's gonna tell? Who's gonna know? What are you saying about it?
I'm saying, how do you bring a riot what we should do because Moshe Rabbeinu did something? What I mean, he's the manik of the whole klal, so he's Moshe Rabbeinu, so he had to do something. What does that have to do with me? How do you bring a riot that I have enough place to do something because Moshe Rabbeinu did something?
I'm saying, well, we could try.
You could say the opposite. The Klal Yisrael is suffering because of their sins. Who said Moshe Rabbeinu had to be part of that? Moshe Rabbeinu.
Yeah, you could learn from Moshe Rabbeinu.
That's his job, Moshe Rabbeinu. That's why he's called Moshe Rabbeinu.
So you could. That's why you could learn from him.
He's the epitome of being part of the tzibur. You're bringing proof to what the whole point. Moshe Rabbeinu. What's your raya? That Moshe Rabbeinu is the ultimate leader, meaning he's the ultimate person that's part of the congregation. So that's even more proof. It's not because he's tzaddik. Forget tzaddik. Forget the tzaddik. He's the ultimate congregation person because he's the ultimate leader. That's what a leader is. That's exactly what you're saying.
No, I'm not.
Is a leader not part of the congregation?
I don't know.
You can't give a chayes to someone like me because Moshe Rabbeinu did something.
Why not?
Well, because when we're not, we have
what makes Moshe Rabbeinu better than anyone else?
I have no shaykhs to Moshe Rabbeinu.
I don't understand, but what makes him better than anyone else?
He made himself better than anyone else.
No, I'm just saying, why should that be mighty him from the tzibur? If anything, he's the ultimate tzibur person. We just said that yesterday.
He's not 100% wrong. It's there's a mechaber turshul chanarich.
We just said yesterday he's the ultimate leader.
On a menekes, whether a Yiddish baby can be menek from a goiter. The mechaber says not, and the raya is from Moshe Rabbeinu. Sorry, the Torah says not, the raya is from Moshe Rabbeinu. The Beis Yosef asks, what Aaron's asking. Same kasha. How can you bring a raya from Moshe Rabbeinu to us? Essentially, the answer is what you're saying. But really, what we should aspire to be is Moshe Rabbeinu. Whether we get there or not is irrelevant.
But I'm just saying, in regards to this specific halacha, Moshe Rabbeinu is the ultimate proof that you should be part of a tzibur. That's what he was about. You want to say he's holier? What does that have to do with being part of a tzibur?
No, that's what it means. Anam mikal adam. What he did was anam mikal adam.
So that's what he was. He was a tzibur person.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see weiter. Anyway, so Shem Yomer Adam mi may it be, and maybe a person's going to say, Who's gonna know? Who's gonna know about it? So Avnei Beisa Shaladam, this is a pretty scary statement right here. The stones of the person's house, the Kairos Beisa Shaladam, and the beams are gonna me'idin boy. Shanemar Ki Even Mikir Tizak, the stones from the wall are going to yell out. V'chofis me'etz yanena, and what do you call it? Rashi says it's a half of a brick wall will answer out. So, I mean, I'm assuming that they don't only testify about this; they testify about a lot of things. The walls of your house, right? Fine.
Wasn't it Chaim Brisker he asked to have his aron made out of his table or his standard? One of the gedolim of that generation.
A lot of the gedolim did that.
Yeah. But that's this gemara. This is why. So it should be their aron should be made on them.
Well, I don't know that. I thought also because the shulchan was like the mizbeach. I don't know that.
And also,
yeah. Fine. No, they
used to make it out of they used to make it out of the Rav Shtender. That's what they did. They would make the aron out of the Rav Shtender.
I hear you. Yeah. Or the desk or something, right? Something, yeah.
Well, this thing like a shloima, but the mahalach was to make it out of the Rav's Shtender.
I hear. And like this, then nobody can fight over it either. It's a double, yeah. Fine.
But say it's Yaakov. What's the fun in that?
I guess. So the two Malachi Ashuras that we mentioned a few lines ago, they say we said this by Levaya. He's gonna give the malachim to you. Reb Chidka says Nishmas Shaladam, he made all of his own neshama is gonna say the Shenemar from what's laying in your chest. Shamar Pischei Picha, and watch the opening of your mouth, right? Which means that if you're gonna talk badly, then your neshama is gonna say Eidos on you. No, it's his limbs that say Eidos. Shenemar Atem Eidai Noam Hashem. You are my witness, right? So Eidai is plural. So therefore, it's going on all the limbs. Kel Emunah ve'ein Avel, right? He's a Shem of Emunah, and there's nothing wrong with him. Kel Emunah Kishem Shenafraim and Rishayim Lo'elam Haba. The same way. Again, this is the same answer. This is a classic answer to the question of why do good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people. Right? So the same way that they're punished, the Rishayim are punished on Filu al avera kalos and even on a small avera that they do, kach nefraim and tzadikim b'olam hazeh. Tzadikim get punished for a small avera in this world, right? Al avera shekalos and on an avera that they do, and even on a light avera they do. Why? So that their next world will be free and clear. Bein avil. What does it mean? Bein avil k'shem shema shemisham and schar l'tzadikim l'olam haba. Just the same way that the tzadikim get schar l'olam haba, afilu al mitzvah kala, even on an easy mitzvah she'osin that they do. Russia will get it in this world so that he gets all his schar out in this world so that the next world he doesn't get it. Tzaddik v'yasharu, Hashem is a tzaddik and yashar. What does this mean? They say to a person when he's nifter to the next world, kol ma'asav lefanav, they say all the ma'asim in front of him. This is what you did in this place and this day. And he says yes. Sign on it that you agree that you did it. And he signs. He signs it with the hand of every person. He's matzdik the din. And he says and he tells whoever the bezdin shamala, you judge me correctly. Leman titzdak b'dvarecha, that Hashem will be correct in His words. So Amar Shmuel, okay, so that's the end of the Agadata about what happens after somebody's niftar, right? So Amar Shmuel, if somebody sits with Tanesim, he's considered a chaytev. Right, we have a Machlokes whether it's a good thing to fast or a bad thing. Sovar, what does he go with? Me'asher chata al hanefesh, right? You're going to have kapara that you sinned on a nefesh. Which nefesh did he do a chet? He was mitzar himself from yayin. From yayin. He was mitzar. The nazir was mitzar himself from yayin. So he's going to get punished. The nazir only caused himself not to drink wine. So he's called a chayte. So called over. If somebody starves himself, so he's not getting any enough from anything in the world, Halachos kama makama, then for sure he's doing something wrong. So that's the first shita, that you're not supposed to cause yourself pain. Rabbi Lazar, I'm a nikra kadosh. No, he says the opposite. If somebody makes fasts and he is called kadosh, and Amar kadosh here gadol peras sa'aroshay. It's going to be he's kadosh, right? The nazir's kadosh, and he grows long hair from his head of his hair. So a person who only holds himself back from one thing, from wine, nikra kadosh, and he's still called holy, somebody who holds himself back from everything, Halachos kama v'kama, then for sure he's considered kadosh. So that's the Machlokes, whether you could fast or you don't fast. Whether it's good to fast or it's bad
that comes
to fast.
from outside? He's not mitzayir himself.
What?
What about tsar that comes externally? He's not mitzayir himself.
No.
Is he kaddish? What is he?
Zecher. Right? So somebody has it like that. He's a mitzvah voice. He doesn't have a choice. Right? That's what I would think. Well, the Shmuel ha'ikri kaddish, but Shmuel. So according to Shmuel, who says you shouldn't fast, but the pasuk says the nazir is a kaddish. Who agidul parakai? That's only going on the long hair. The hair becomes kaddish, but he's not kaddish. Well, Rabbi Lazar ha'nikra chayte. Rabbi Lazar who says he is kaddish, but the pasuk calls him a chayte. Hahu desav nafshe. Right? That's because he made himself tamei when he touched a mace, so that's why he's called a chayte. Okay, so the Gemara asks him, did Rabbi Lazar really say this? A person should always consider himself, literally means measure himself, now on the base. Ki'ilu kadosh shari b'sayf meyav. Quite an interesting phrase the Gemara says. A person should make himself that he has kedusha inside his stomach or his intestines, right? So since if you look at your insides as your intestines as if they're kaddish, then you have to feed them because you have to make sure that they have kedusha, so they're continuing, right? Which Taisa says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, meaning Kaddish, you have to treat your stomach like it's Kaddish, meaning like it's Hashem, right? That's what's the yud?
It's against vegans, the same way we bring carbonas and they're mostly meat.
Is it against vegans?
We bring carbonas, which is mostly meat.
But fair enough. So you're saying that this could do? Yeah, maybe.
Only the holier than thou vegans. They hold a big mitzayir themselves.
No, okay, most of them are not like that. They're just, pro the animals.
They're not being mitzayir themselves. What's the...
Right, not here. And they enjoy the other stuff so much, for sure. Anyway, right? So shenemar bekirbecha kaddish, inside is kaddish, which doesn't really mean inside, but it's a play on words. But like, and I'm not going to come into the city because it's kedusha. Whatever it is, you see the Rabbi Lazar holds that you can't fast because you're supposed to feed the kedusha in your stomach. So the answer is like kasha hadam matzi l'tzurei nafshe. Well, that's what somebody is able to cause himself tsar. Meaning, some people can fast. If so, a guy taka can fast and it doesn't affect him, then he should fast. And hadalay matzi l'tzurei nafshe. One somewhere where he can't be mitzar himself because he can't function. So if you can't function, then you're considered a chayte.
Is this where the briskers get it from?
Yes, sort of. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yes, very good. We'll get to that. And I think we'll get to it. Meaning, I think what the briskers is it on this stuff? Maybe it's this. I was thinking about that today, Akiva. Right, the briskers hold that it's usher to fast, even on the regular fast days, Taanis tzibur, because they hold we're chaylim. If you're a chayla, then you can't fast. And even if you did fast, it's not a fast. So there's no point in fasting. Right? That's the brisker mahalach.
I could be a brisker for my flight.
No, you're doing a legitimate fast, but I guess you could be a fake brisker, a phoenix brisker. Okay, yeah. Reish Lakish Amar Nikra Chassid. He's called a Chassid. Shenemar Goimel Nafshoy Ish Chassid. One who does Goimel means he stops himself, is considered a Chassid. Va'aycher Sheiroi, and somebody who he ruins his body, right? So that's called an Achsar. Yeah. So so the pasuk really he's really going with Rebbe Lazar, right? So, and meaning you have to, the first part of pasuk says it sounds like it's good to fast. The second part of pasuk sounds like it's bad to fast. So that's what he's saying. One is talking about with somebody who has the ability to fast, and one is talking about where the guy does not have the ability to fast. Someone of Sheshes, hi Barbe Rav, the Yosef Betanisa, Leichel Kalba L'Sheruse. Right, a Barbe Rav, a young Talmud Chacham was sitting in a Taanis, then a dog should come along and eat his meal, right? So which is basically he's giving up his meal, but he's giving it to a dog. So the meaning there's no point, and there was nothing accomplished by him not eating the food, because he's not because he shouldn't be fasting. There's no Tainus Tzibur in Bavel except Tisha B'Av. Now, what does that mean? They didn't keep the Dalat Tanesin. So Rashi says what that means is for the chumras of the Tainus, right? And meaning it's the only one that they didn't fast at night. The other fast, meaning which is what we do. They kept the other fasts, but they ate at night, right? That's essentially what they did, except for Tisha B'Av, which is that's exactly what we do, right? So Amar of Yirmiyah Amar Reish Lakish Ein Talmud Chacham R'shoy Leisha B'Tainis. The Talmud Chacham is not allowed to sit in the Tainis because by not fasting you're being Mamayid and Melecha Shemayim, right? And he's not able to learn. That's also Akiva maybe, but I don't think that's the brisker's time. I do know Rabbeim that do not fast. They have to teach.
I know them also.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, they were usually more Hasidish. But Ramosha Feinstein and the Tshuva says if you're at work and you can't fast because you can't work well because you're fasting, then he says you break your fast because you have a shiva to your boss. You have a shiva to your boss. He doesn't discuss whether you're mechuyev to take a day off, like a sick day. But he says, but if you're at work and you're not able to maintain your regular standard, then don't fast.
No one could have told me that when I was working at the stores.
I don't know. I don't know.
Guess I didn't ask the right price, Kim.
I guess. Sorry about that.
We've had this amongst doctors where I had a resident who was in the ICU who insisted on fasting, and he collapsed.
Yeah, they're running around.
It's not just being a doctor, it's not just being an employee, but these are people's lives on
yeah, of course, 100%.
ICU doctor insists on fasting.
Wow, crazy. Okay. Anyway, so we say that the first fast days, when the drought is first starting, so you eat and drink at night. Amar Rabbi Zira, Amar Huna, Yachid Shekibul of Tainus. So if a Yachid makes his own Tainus, meaning a private fast, even if he ate and drank the whole night, he does say the next day Hanenu, because he's that's considered fasting. Lon betanisa, if he went to sleep with his Tainus, meaning he didn't break his fast afterwards, and he went to sleep, so now he's still fasting by Shachris the next day. So that means he's on his day 2 of his fast. There he does not daven to Tainus, even though he's still fasting, right? Which we'll see why that is. So Amar Rav Yosef, my kasav Rav Huna. What does Rav Huna hold about what? Why does he hold what he holds with the fasting? Does he hold that you don't fast for hours? So, so you don't say Anenu because the guy, again, this is talking about the guy not saying Anenu on the second day. Right? He plans on eating right after Anenu. right after Shachris. So does he say Anenu then? It's still a Taanis, but it's only a Taanis for hours. So the Gemara is asking, does he hold that there's no such thing as fasting for hours? So you don't say Anenu. Or maybe no, somebody can make a fast for hours. But he holds that if you do fast for a few hours, there is something to it, but you don't say the special tefillah of a Taanis. So that's the Shiloh. Which way does he hold? Again, does he hold that you can't make a fast for a few hours, or does he hold you can, you just don't say Anenu? Really, he holds that you could fast for hours. And somebody who fasts for hours does daven tefillas Taanis v'shani hacha the shoyis the lelia the loikiba lelei meikara. And here it's different because there were the hours of the night where he never was makabel the fast. We'll see in tomorrow's daf Hashem that you have to really be makabel a fast in order to make the fast legitimate, right? So since he didn't do that because he was supposed to break his fast the night before, he just didn't get around to it or whatever it is, then the next day's fast is nothing.
So he's saying you could be makabel a Taanis between breakfast and lunch, and it's a Taanis.
We're going to see tomorrow that you have to be makabel at mincha the day before.
So you can makabel mincha the day before, and you say I'm not eating from 9 to 12.
Yeah, it sounds like it sounds like that. It's going to be really more tomorrow's daf, but
no, and it's counted as a Taanis.
It's going to it has some meaning to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Like now the shorter days you could say.
Right. That's true. Yeah. It's easy. What did I want to? What was Shani? I don't remember. Okay. Okay. Mar Ukva ikul leginzik. Mar Ukva traveled to Ginzik, and they asked him a shayla. Can you fast for a few hours or not? He didn't know. Then he asked him another question. Kan and shal nachrim, the jugs of goyim, the wine jugs, they're mutter to use or they're usher to use, right? Meaning, do you have to kasha them because of the wine? He didn't have the answer to that either. But Mashimish Moshe Kol Shivas Yimei Maluim, right? Rabban, this is one of our favorite gemaras. Right, what did Moshe Rabbeinu use in the 7 days of inaugurating the Mishkan? He didn't know the answer. Right. Also,
the din of using a jug is because of the nesach.
Yeah. Well, as opposed to what?
Not okay. It has the din of tarfus. You mean like that?
Yeah, Yain Yasa. Yeah. Yain Yasa has got tarfus. So those are the three questions. So he didn't know.
I'm saying, would that apply today? If you pour yain into the decanter, we have to get rid of the decanter.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, 100%. Oh, that's the whole. We're not going to go this way, but that's the whole sherry casks. That's mamish the sherry cask issue. Yeah. So Azov v'shol bei midrash. They went and asked by the Beis Medrash. Amrulei, they told him hilchasam misanan l'shois. The halach is that you do fast for hours and waspalan tefillas taanis, and you can even say anenu for that. The Hilchasa, that's one. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Why do we say Anenu only by Mincha, not by Shachris? Right? On a fast day, we say Anenu by Mincha. We don't say by Shachris. The Chazan
is it a normal that we're usually fasting by Shachris?
Right, exactly. So from this Gemara, it sounds like you could say Anenu, but we don't paskin like that. But Stam, on a regular fast day, how come the Tzibur doesn't say Anenu by Shachris? The answer is because we're not paskin like this Gemara. And if you only fast, until you fast for chatzos, you cannot say Anenu. So we're afraid that you're going to say Anenu in the morning and then you're going to go eat something. The Chazan says it because the Mastama, there's a bunch of people in the crowd that will at least maintain the fast. So that's why the Chazan says it. But everybody else doesn't say it. By Mincha already, you could say it.
Why by Mincha? Because
the Pashta says, first of all, you fasted already to chatzos. So chatzos is considered already like as if you fast. It's not as if you fasted a whole day, but that's the.
I'm saying Mitzvah Yom Kikula is the beginning of the day also.
Right, but that doesn't work for the fast.
I'm saying when
you have rice, you have
Mitzvah Yom, right?
No, you don't. Not for a fast. You're not going to say Mitzvah Yom.
Right. So then, what's the svara?
No, because of the fast. Because chatzi. Anybody, if you eat after chatzos, we had it as if you're throwing a pebble into nothing. Right, so that's where it comes from, that fasting chatzos. That's also going to be tomorrow. Yeah, another halacha. This is a big misunderstanding about this gemara. And the halacha is that jugs from goyim after 12 months they're mutter. They don't need to be kosher because the wine taste goes away. So there is a Ben Ish Chai. Ben Ish Chai? It's Ben Ish Chai, right? Who says that you can apply this to kashrus too. And after 12 months, you don't have to kasher treif, which we don't paskin like. But a Moshe finds it uses it.
We do that with Pesach with the dishes, no?
Not really. That's what they.
I'm saying the people who are makbid on gebrachs.
With the gebrachs, that whole stick with gebrachs.
Aaron, some of the rebbes only eat in the nibba yard because they have more than a year.
Because right.
Oh, really?
But it doesn't work.
Yaakov, is this where sherry casks comes in?
But the sherry casks, they tried to prove that, but the sherry casks are in less than 12 months. They would go.
Right, but eventually they're used for
no. So that's the question. So that's the question. Does it keep rejuvenating?
Right.
When you put in,
it's mashma if you don't put wine in it. That's what it is.
Right. So that's correct. That's one of the tumals with the sherry casks. Very good, Hakiva. 100%. That's one of the tumals. Yeah. So okay, but that's what it is. So Ramosha says you can uses as a tziruf the sheet of a kashrus that if somebody who's yarshened China from somebody that was not religious and they really tzabrochen about it. So Ramosha says after a year you can kasher it 3 times and then it works. He uses this shita. Okay, that's second. And then the last is Bameshimesh Moshe calls Ayim Mlum. What did Moshe use to shivit Mlum? B'chaluk lavan he used a white cloth. Rav Kahana Masni b'chaluk lavan shein lo imra. It was a white thing that had no hem and no pockets because the oil was going to be choshed that Moshe Rabbeinu was going to rip off money from the Mishkan, right? Just imagine that. So that's what the oil talk about. Imagine what that community would have done with social media if they had it. Can you just imagine? Right? Even without social media, they would be Moshe Rabbeinu that he's stealing money from the Mishkan, right? So
they were choshed him on the wives. They warned the wives not to talk to them either. They did that also.
It's wild. It's wild.
I think they were only choshed him because the rest of the time he wore a blue shirt. He wasn't a white shirt.
Okay, I hear, but anyways, so that's a wild gemara there. Fine. Okay, so we'll stop. We'll stop over here. Fine. All right. Fine. Zagazit. All right. I'm running. I'm going to try and chop my. Okay.
It's enough.
No.
Thank you. Night.
Night, everyone.
It's a wedding.